Dominic, wedding DJ.
And this is Serena, wedding planner.
And together we are
The Wedding Duo.
We are here to talk all things weddings.
Planning a wedding can be stressful, but we are here to help.
So before you say, that's it, we're going to Vegas, don't go to Vegas.
Let's have some fun.
Join us as we answer your wedding questions and help navigate planning one of the biggest days of your life with
The Wedding Duo.
Well, it's been a minute, yet here we are.
It has been more than a minute. It has been like 6 months.
6 months. I was going to say it's been a month. It's been 6 months. We wanted to make it something like an even break. Let's give us a half a year, and then we'll come back re-energized and ready to go with all new fun stuff to talk about.
Absolutely. So new episodes. This is our first one back. Thank you for joining us today.
Hooray.
And we have been up to the usual stuff. So nothing major to announce, just lots of weddings, lots of life has been going on. But yeah, we were gone for 6 months, but you guys kept listening to the episodes, which was really great to see. And we appreciate you tuning in.
We occasionally get the comment like, hey, what's up with the podcast? Like, I know. We're doing a lot of things. We're trying to get back to the podcast, but we couldn't have done it in the month of May. Why is that?
Well, May was absolutely wonderfully insane. Insane. So I think all I really need to say is that we were in 5 different states for events. So that kind of
I was
sums
in one
up.
of those states twice, also in May.
Right. In 1 month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not normal. That is not a normal month for us, but wow, was May insane.
Nor is it normal for like wedding vendors. You know, we get comments sometimes.
We're definitely not the normal wedding vendors. That is for sure.
No, the traveling part of what we do is a little bit of an anomaly. I know there's traveling wedding vendors out there, but not necessarily. I haven't met another planner DJ team. Have you?
Well, we have good friends in San Antonio that are planner DJ
But
team.
that travel.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
because photography is easier. They just they carry on their camera and they fly in and they go to the mountains and they do a photo shoot, whatever.
Even planning you can do
you
from
could
afar.
do that.
Absolutely.
But DJs, man, our stuff is large and heavy and not easy to move and relocate. I mean, we do it all the time, but not on a flight or across multiple state lines. But yeah, we've figured it out.
We've got it down to a science, and it's actually a lot easier than it was initially.
Well, yeah.
Like anything you do, right?
But it is also challenging when you go international.
Yes, which we're doing next year. Guys, we're going international next year twice so far. So
we're going south and we're going over the pond.
We are. So we have a wedding next year in Cabo that he is DJing. I need to be there to assist, obviously.
Yeah, you're
right?
assisting.
Assist on the beach. And then we're going to be going to
Tuscany,
you guys.
Yeah.
And that is so exciting for us, you know. And again, talking about logistics, we had to make sure that everything made sense for the trip, but we're super excited to, we'll be sharing this stuff on social media. So come next June, keep an eye out for all that fun stuff.
And you know what else happened in May besides our events?
You had a birthday.
I had a birthday. And this ensemble you see, if you're watching it on YouTube, was brought to you by my wife.
Yes. I like to buy him new clothes just to update the wardrobe once in a while.
But I have a hard time throwing out stuff. So now I just have
just
a lot of old t-shirts that need to be retired. But I'm like, no. But our son is getting big enough. He can almost wear my clothes now. So I'm like, dude. And he goes through clothes really fast. So if
and
you're
how
a parent
excited
out there,
are you about passing on clothes? Like, I don't know. You're weird about it.
It's very exciting. It's exciting for my son to be like, this was dad's old shirt. Make it proud. Do it proud. Do it right.
Oh my God. I'm like, get rid of it. I need a new outfit.
Not the flip-flops. Of course, you've got flip-flops. There's you got to get some miles out of your flip-flops. Once they just fit your feet, right?
That's a tangent.
But the shorts and the shirt are brought to you by Serena. Well
Lovely.
Done. Lovely.
I'm a good wife.
So where should we start? Let's start in May. Beginning of May, where did we go first?
We went to Michigan.
Detroit, to be specific.
Right. Detroit. And we were right there on what body of water?
The Detroit River.
Okay. And that was a lot of fun. We
were right on the Detroit River.
Yeah. Literally the venue, the people were fishing right there.
Oh my God. Can we talk about that for a second?
Well,
you may have seen the video.
Just a minute. Let's wait. I'd never been to Michigan before. And it was so close to where we live because we're now in Columbus, Ohio, for those of you who don't know. And
show us in the mitten.
I don't know.
Do you know the mitten?
The mitten.
Yeah. So
it's probably down, right?
it was like boop right over the. I mean, for those of you that know, Detroit is just over the border, so it was very convenient for us. We're in Ohio. It was like 3.5 hours. I think it
It
was
was
not
amazing.
far, but Michigan they like to show in the mitten, not the uppers, the in the Upper Peninsula, not those folks. They don't have a mitten. I don't know how that works.
I don't
It's
care.
a thing. I know
don't
you don't know.
care.
It's a thing. People say, "Where are you in the hand?" Right? Go ahead. So anyway,
Okay. Good to know.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Now, something I remember specifically about that event was they did a lot of DIY. And this is something I want to kind of touch on.
Raise
In,
your hand out there if you're doing DIY. I mean,
yeah,
every bride does,
a
or
certain
couple does
amount.
some.
Yeah.
Whether it's out of fun because it's something you always imagined, right? Or it's out of necessity and you're trying to fit in that budget that you set for yourself that you're failing to meet.
Right. Something that I want to bring up, because we always try to be helpful with our podcast, right? We don't want to just like tell stories all day, is that I had to have a conversation about getting help because there was so much. We're talking a box truck here, guys, of DIY items and things for the event. And so obviously, as the planner coming in, especially from a different area, I couldn't manage that all myself. So we did actually have additional staff local come in for setup, tear down. They also moved items from the ceremony location to the reception because you can imagine that takes a lot of effort. So that was a really big helpful piece. And I want you guys, if you do have a lot of DIY in your event, just kind of think through what is that going to look like from like a staffing support perspective.
Because it wasn't just the box truck. It was a box truck, but multiple SUVs, backs filled with, stuff. Like people don't realize just when you're setting up for a wedding, you spend maybe 8 to 10 hours, maybe the night before if you have access. People bring in stuff for the better part of half a day. And then in 1 hour, you got to get it all out.
Yes.
And the people that said they were going to help have left, or they're drunk, or they're passed out.
Can be a thing.
It could be a thing. Or they just said like, grab your purse, let's get out of here because I don't want to stick around. I'm tired. They want to go. They don't want to stay there and help out. It's fun setting up. It's less fun tearing it down, right?
True.
And it's quicker. Taking stuff out is way quicker than putting it up, right? Because you don't care what it looks like. You just throw it in the box, get out of there. But it can take so much time, and people underestimate that. And the venue is sitting there flipping the lights like, let's go, you got to get out. And then you can't leave it overnight. They may charge you more. I mean, it's a whole thing. So prepare for that.
Absolutely.
Prepare for that after the wedding. Like, who's going to be there to help strike?
Yes.
That's a thing.
Yes. And so
if it's one wedding planner, he is not doing it by themselves, and they can't do it by themselves. They can't.
True.
Because I work with planners outside of my wife, right? When I was in Florida, the planner was there just like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I hear it from Serena all the time. Like, it's who's going to help tear all this stuff down? Because my stuff takes a good 45 minutes myself to get my equipment out of there. But I try to help, but it can't just be the planner by yourself taking down 12 hours worth of stuff.
True. Very true. And so that's the point. We planned ahead and it went well.
It did.
And that's why I wanted to share that point with you guys. The other thing we almost touched on that we can chat about now is the situation with the
jackass behind me. I had to do a video. Luckily, I have my phone at the ready, which, do you know me at all?
You always
I'm like
have
quick
your
drama.
phone
I'm
at
like,
the ready.
tick-tock o'clock. Let's get this. So the bride and groom were right on the river, right outside the venue. Well, it's still on the property, but they had a property that was outside. It was like a courtyard, and the Detroit River's right behind it. Somebody comes up and starts fishing directly, like literally you could have jumped and hit the boat. That's from the shore. Like that's how close they were. Behind where the newlyweds are taking pictures because they just done a first look, right?
Yes.
And I mean, and people, of course, get on social media like, well, maybe that's his honey hole. Maybe he was there first. No, he wasn't there first. They came out there. He literally pulled in behind, dropped anchor, and was fishing immediately behind him. And the river is vast. If you don't know the Detroit River, it's huge.
It's gigantic.
You could have been 3 feet down and just cast your line into the spot. But no, he had to have his boat right behind him. And I mean, it just makes me so mad when people are oblivious. It reminded me of remember the golf?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a similar
green
situation with someone golfing on a putting green during the ceremony that was very close.
The ceremony. And all you hear is click. And he's over there like, yes, he's doing like arm motions. And he's like, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Right.
You can't wait to do this. Get on the putting green. You have to do it right during the ceremony. Who are these people? Drives me crazy.
It's a lot. And I think the point too, when we put this video on social media, people came at us with, did anyone ask him to move? Well, I mean, I think the point is more like, why should
let's answer that question. Yes, multiple people. the photographer, the videographer,
Yes.
the mom.
But
The bride said she was going to throw rocks.
so a lot of people came on social media and said, like, did we ask him to move? And the answer was yes, people did ask him to move. But the point is more like, why should we have to? Like, what has happened in society where you see something like that going on and you don't think, oh, maybe out of courtesy, I could wait 15 minutes because it really didn't take very long. Or I could go somewhere else and find a different spot to fish. That was just what really irked us, I think, about the whole thing.
And for all the people that jumped on social media and were like defending this guy, right? If you were the father of the bride and you were up there and your daughter was getting married and some other dude came up behind, fisherman or not, that would not sit okay with you. And you'd be like, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Exactly. But they're like, well, I was fishing. I got the boat in the water. That's in the water. I'm like, okay, great. Anyway, we don't need to dwell on this for a long time.
No, we don't.
But boy, gosh, it just drove me nuts.
The things we see and the things people do.
And I knew when we posted it, like people are gonna come out like, oh, he was there first. Okay, great. That's fine.
Right. So Michigan was great.
It was great.
All in all, fantastic event. They had this really cool, what kind of car did they have that they left in? Did you see it? Do you remember?
I have no idea. I cannot remember.
Oh my God. It
I
was
don't think
this
I even
really
saw it.
old car of the bride's dad, and they had just married on it. I mean, it was just really fun and some great photos. So that's always cool. If you guys have access to any type of like, vintage vehicle, that's fun.
Oh, you can rent one. I had a couple rent a Porsche one time because you can go rent a luxury car, right?
Absolutely.
And they just drove off in style at the end of the night. They took a lot of pictures with it, which was pretty
Mhm.
bougie, right? So it doesn't have to be like what are we leaving in Dad's Buick? Like it doesn't have to be that. Or somebody, if you have a junker, don't drive off in the junker. Get yourself something sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Which the next event we went to, or you went to?
I went to Orlando for a conference.
Oh, yep.
And then I went to Wisconsin Dells.
Yeah. So tell us about that.
It was fantastic. They were very sweet. They wrote their own vows, which I always know is not for everybody, but it's always a big ask because you're up there in front of your people,
Mhm.
especially for the groom sometimes, because my gender doesn't always show emotion well. But in the middle of can I swear? We never swear in our podcast.
Sometimes we do. We have
Yeah. Okay. So
occasionally.
he's up there and he's getting choked up reading his vows. And he's like, and I always knew you were the one. And his voice cracks a little bit. And then he turns to the crowd and goes, all right, enough of the sad shit. And then everybody laughed, including myself. And I like laughed out loud. I was like hysterical.
Mhm.
And then he turns and he said something else, but he got choked up again. So it wasn't like he was done, but it was just very sweet. And good for all of you out there that can muscle through. But again, if you can't do it,
We understand.
yeah, people are like, I will ugly cry. Like, yeah, okay, that's not a good look on wedding day, but it's a hard thing to fight.
I mean, I love that he just like called it out. Like, I'm
Yes.
getting, to a point where I don't want to be, and like, let me lighten the mood a little bit.
Oh, and one of the greatest, you were with me on this one. We were in San Antonio. The groom was a police officer. I think she worked in dispatch, which is how they met. Scandal, right?
Mhm.
But all his groomsmen were cops too. And afterwards, I mean, he got very emotional. She came around the corner and he was like wiping
Yes.
tears off his face, all the things, right? And afterwards, they were waiting for the wedding party to jump in for pictures. And I was striking my ceremony setup. And the guys were over there going, I haven't seen him cry that much since he got pepper sprayed. I'm like, wow, okay. That's lovely. Good. Your friends, they will keep you in check. No question. Right?
Absolutely, they
And
will.
your siblings, goodness.
Oh my goodness, yes. And that's what they're there for, like, right?
Bust
Like,
chops.
bust
Yeah,
your
that's my
chops.
gender. There we
Mhm.
go.
What else? Is there anything else you remember specifically about
They were very sweet. We
Wisconsin?
danced all night. They had a lot of cheese in the order. There was like cheese curd things, which is
That
a very,
fits.
yeah, and it was very Wisconsin-y. And then there was also a polka fest going on in the hotel.
That's right. I remember he sent
It
me a
was the polka
video.
fest. Yeah, I was like, okay, this is just now we're in like a reality show. It can't be this Wisconsin, but yeah, it was very Wisconsin-y. Cheese and polka. But the couple were very sweet. It was a great event. Yeah. And then what happened while I was there? You did a video on your way to Georgia.
Oh, that's right.
And I was
Logistics
like,
here.
we're coming to you
Crazy.
live from the other event. I'm in Wisconsin. The other half of the wedding it was kind of a cute little video.
Yeah, because so I had to travel that same weekend to Georgia because we had a wedding in Georgia on Monday. So I drove down with the gear, and the plan
The plan.
was to pick him up Sunday from the airport. We were going to go together to the rehearsal that was happening Sunday evening, but that didn't happen,
No.
right?
And Atlanta's the worst airport to fly through. I think it's the busiest in the world, but there was a hiccup, and you get a hiccup in Atlanta.
Yeah. Derailed the whole day. Like
5:30, I think I got my bag finally.
5:30 p.m. What time were you supposed to land?
11. You were supposed to pick me up at like at 11
11
I think.
yeah.
So
So we had
Nashville,
a little
I
bit.
sat in Nashville forever. Like, come on.
But you guys, this is why we build in so much extra time, right?
Yeah.
Like the wedding was not even till the next day. So nobody knew the difference except for us running around like crazy trying to figure it out. But Georgia, my gosh, what
Yeah.
an event.
What an event. So it had been raining. Let's talk about the weather for a second, because all of you out there, you could be 6 months from your wedding and you're already looking at the forecast, which is ridiculous, but I get it. Everybody does it. Everybody does. What? Look at the almanac. What does it usually say this time of year, right? But the weather's going to change so much. So don't worry about that until you get till about a week out, and even then it'll change. But boy, did it rain! Like you were already at the ceremony site. I was
Mhm.
driving there, and wipers on full blast.
Monsoon.
People driving with hazards on, that's like a thing, right? When it gets
Yeah.
that bad, you can't see. People slow down, they put on the hazards, wipers going full blast. And this was a few hours before the ceremony.
I was going to say, this
we
is
are
like
not
the
going
day
outside.
of the wedding. Like, what are we going to do? And just to kind of preface this, so we were at Toccoa Falls. It's like a park.
It's way down yonder in the Chattahoochee. The
Yes, yes, it
Chattahoochee. How
is.
fun.
But
Beautiful.
they were not even from there. They were from
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, and they were getting married at this site with this waterfall, you guys, this waterfall. So think of this, like everybody has a vision for their ceremony anyways, whether it's outside, inside, but you travel from out of state to get married in front of the waterfall, and then it rains to the point where we don't know if we can. It was just on the verge of devastation, right?
And the
Like
room
we
they
were
were
on the
gonna
verge.
do the backup to was very underwhelming. It was fine.
Yeah, but
was dry.
It was dry. It was,
But it was,
yeah.
they didn't drive all the way across the country to get married in that room. They drove there because the waterfall, which is just 100 steps down the road, but I mean, it was pouring. So finally it looked like it was going to break, because we were ready to tell the couple, like,
Mhm.
it's not going to go. And I
On
was
the
looking at the
verge.
radar going, actually, and I'm the one that's usually like, we can't. I'm like, actually, so I knew you said when you heard me say it, like, I think we can, I said, I think we were going to have a window. Let's go. Let's try it. So we run down there, and I come around the corner and see this waterfall. I'm like, oh my God. And you were like, it didn't look like that yesterday
It
because it had
didn't.
been pouring rain. It was like massive.
Yes. I mean, so impressive, you guys. I mean, if you haven't seen the videos on our page, just go check it out. It's unbelievable. But you had your gear, and that was the main worry, right? Like,
course.
obviously, the microphones, music, we weren't going to be able to do that. But we did the pop-up tents.
The groomsmen brought me a pop-up tent. So we put that up. I put my gear up, but it wasn't even raining as much at that point. But the waterfall, for those of you that have ever visited a big waterfall, the water was coming horizontally now, like from the waterfall. But I was tucked away in a good spot where my gear wasn't going to get wet. But the wedding party and me, by the way, I officiated that wedding. Our backs were like soaked because the spray was coming off. So it was also very loud. And
Yeah.
being the AV guy and the officiant on that one, it was kind of tricky. I was like, how loud can I make this go so they can hear me over the raging waterfall behind me?
And I will say, if you got even 8-10 feet behind that last row, you couldn't hear anything, because that's where I was. I was standing in the back.
I had the speaker like right in the guest's ear practically. So.
But the point of all this is it worked. It was amazing. And our bridesmaid was Faith. And I kind of made this video about, like, when it rains right before your ceremony, but your bride's name is Faith, because
I guess, my gosh,
there was somebody looking out for these two, because it couldn't have been more wonderful and special for all of us, because we've become actually pretty close with this couple. And I don't know, it was so touching just in the way it all worked out.
And from a vendor's point of view, like, nobody wants rain on their wedding day. They say it's good luck, but I think that's just something they tell brides to make them feel better about the day, right?
Yeah.
But nobody wants to tell, especially the bride, because it tends to be the bride, like, we can't do it in the spot you envisioned, because rain, wind, heat, bugs, whatever the thing is, it's usually rain. That's like the big one, right? But if you don't want to be out there after 4 hours of hair and makeup being soaked. Your guests can't sit out there in the pouring rain. Umbrellas make it hard. The DJ's gear, the videographer, the cameras, all that stuff can't get soaked, because you'll get a big bill afterwards. You know how much a lens costs? Like 10 grand for a lens. I don't know how they buy it. Not all of them, but I know photographers out there be like, yeah, we spent a ton of money and we can't, even though there's a trash bag, whatever they're doing. And I've gotten creative getting my stuff not wet. But I had a bride that was waiting. We started 30 minutes late, and it poor, like her hair was just matted on her head. And we did it. We stayed. I was
Yeah.
under an eave, so I was not getting soaked, but I was like, the guests were soaked. And now what do? You go into an air conditioned reception and everybody's
Yeah.
soaking wet.
It's
It just,
hard.
you got to think through that stuff. And it's better to call it and move it inside if you have that option.
It's true.
It stinks though. Man, it stinks.
Man, it does. And so just to say, we are so happy that it worked
Yes.
out this way because it was so wonderful. And then we moved over. The reception was not in the same location as the ceremony. So we transferred everyone over to this lodge that was in the like forest. It was so pretty. It
Deep,
was a
deep,
very
deep in the Chattahoochee.
yeah, it was very small event, but my gosh, was it charming and just a wonderful night, a wonderful couple. Such good memories, I think,
It was really fun. Yeah.
from us. And she wrote us the most just heartfelt review. I mean, it was a great event.
And was in our membership as well. So we got to know her we go live on our membership all the time. And Faith was there regularly still, actually.
She came back to tell everybody about it. Yeah.
We had somebody got on one of our lives in our membership and they said, I graduated. And I was like, oh, wow, you graduated? Didn't you just get married too? And she goes, no. What I mean is, and this has become a thing. I graduated the membership. Like for us, like they come to all these lives with us. We get to know them. Then they have their wedding and they get on the live after they get married and they just talk about it with us and what went well, how great it was, or something didn't go as planned and how they muscled through or whatever. And the other brides that are on the live are listening like, okay, I'm getting close. I'm 5 months out. I'm 6 months out. I'm a year out, whatever it is. But then she says, you graduated. We congratulate her on graduating. She goes, no. I graduated the membership. I go, oh, because you got married.
True.
It was
That's
very
what
fun.
that meant.
So now it's become a thing now.
So if we haven't talked yet, which we haven't, about the membership, it's been a really great experience. And those lives with all of our members have been a lot of fun. We've gotten to know a lot of you really well. So you should probably check it out if you want more from us.
I'm sure there will be an ad in this podcast.
There will be an ad somewhere where you'll get more information. So next, where did you go next?
The next one was North Carolina. So North Carolina was beautiful. It was one of those, I was driving down the road to get to the venue and this is weird because it's always a venue I've never been to now that we travel, right? Or us.
Right.
And I'm like, am I in the right spot? And every vendor out there will be like, yes, I've been there, where you're driving and you look, it's a wedding and you look for a name or a picture. You're like, okay, I'm in the right spot. It's a weird thing, but it's just like, I've got this nightmare of like, what if I ever went to the wrong spot? And now you're like, oh my God.
Well, and also like a lot of times venues tend to be out in the boonies.
Yeah.
So that's a real fear. Like they're not necessarily downtown. They're out in the sticks.
And it's an advantage. And we would do it all the time. We're talking to a new client and they were like, oh, you're getting married at the Preserve. Oh my gosh. Did you talk to Jordan? He's so great or whatever. Like it's just a thing.
Like if we know
the bride's just like, oh, they know the venue and it's a nice thing, but it's not hard. I've walked into many an event site that I've never stepped foot on before. But when you're going there, you're just like, where is this place? Where have you never been there? It's different. So I get there. It's gorgeous. There's this big lake. The venue is stunning. The couple were just wonderful. And they did something that we talk about a lot in videos, but we actually did it on site where the groom and the bride went down the aisle to the same song. So the wedding party went down to a song. Well, the parents went down to a song. The wedding party went down to a song. The guys went down to a song. And then we started the song and the groom went down.
What song was it?
It was Tough by Dylan Scott.
Yes.
So he went down to the first verse. They didn't care for the second verse. So we took that out and put in her voice over an instrumental, which was
so
very
wonderful.
pretty because she sent me her recording of her voice. It was a surprise to the groom. But there was some timing involved, right? Because I'm like, how long is this thing? So I told him, and he was going to take a shot with his groomsmen, a fireball, when they went down the aisle. And I go, I got all the groomsmen together beforehand and the groom. And I'm like, let's talk through this because you guys can't be up there horsing around a while because I can't have them all taking shots and chest bump and high five when her voice starts talking. I need them to be stopped, focused, him looking back down the aisle.
Right.
So it was very clear when her voice came out because we didn't go to all this effort to have them acting a fool up there and miss the moment.
Can hear it. Yeah.
So we literally like choreographed the thing, if you will, like blocked it out. Here's what we're gonna do. Halfway down, he'll stop. Don't anybody take out your fireball. He'll take it out. We'll move around. Hey, cheers, drink it down. Get back in position. Like, let's go. Get back in. And they were like, okay. And I didn't tell anybody, but I just told them like, because she's coming out for the same song. It made sense, right?
Sure.
Then it went to her voice. And then it went to the song where, if you don't know the song, it says, good luck being tough, right? That's the whole thing, right? So it gets to the point where like, when she walks in with her dad on her arm, and she's in all white. Good luck being tough. Oh my God.
It was
It was so
unbelievable.
good. It was so good.
He has video of it, and I watched it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness,
Good
that
luck being
is
tough. Yeah,
amazing."
me, good luck being tough. I was just like, this is perfect. It worked out perfect, but it did. The timing worked out.
Yes.
And that's the thing when people send me this information, because we can do this for you. If you want to send, I'm working on one right now for a gal. And she sent me her voice. She sent me the song. She actually sent me the instrumental one, because usually you can't have your voice talking at the same time as lyrics are happening.
Right.
But usually there's an instrumental where we can find, basically it's maybe you have some lyrics before, but usually it starts instrumental with your voice and then it goes into the song. But wow, it's just really,
It's
really
really
great.
powerful.
It's really fun. It's a great keepsake. Nobody ever expects it, right? And unless you're on social media,
You don't even know it
you
exists.
don't even know it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Because most of your guests are like, what is that? Like, but it's a thing. You can do it. Yeah, we can do it. But again, it's very fun. It's very powerful.
What a wonderful group too. And they had really pretty wildflowers was their theme, so colorful.
All the bridesmaids were in different colors.
Yeah, I loved seeing the photos from
Very pretty.
their event. Absolutely.
And then she iced the groomsmen, and that video is doing very well. And a lot of people international are like, what is that? What is, I go, it's a thing. I don't know if you're not, I never thought it was a Southern thing, but maybe it is.
I have no idea.
But it's a Smirnoff Ice. And people are like, why are they drinking Smirnoff? Didn't they have any Zima? And I'm like, it's a thing. When you ice somebody, it has to be a Smirnoff. You know, don't hate. If you don't understand it, we mock what we don't understand, right?
I guess.
There you go.
That
But
makes
that
sense.
video, like I said, it's weird. We did one once before in San Antonio, and that video did really well. I go, okay.
But I think it's because people don't see it normally, right? Like we see it, we know what it is, but you got to think like for the masses, they see something like that and they're like,
I
"Oh,
think-
that's a thing."
I think it's people that were like, oh, I'm totally doing that to my groomsmen or
Yeah,
my
that too.
bridesmaids or whatever. But yeah, but it's a thing. It's a thing.
So we'll move on to the last event of the month of May, and that was in
Destin. No, it wasn't Destin. It was Fort Walton.
Oh.
Destin is literally the neighboring city, but it's
I was saying Destin too, but it's
yeah, because I thought it was Destin. I'm like, because I thought Fort Walton was just a beach, but it's the town. So there you go.
got it.
Me as the geography,
Snob that
snob
he
that you
is.
call me, right?
He
I
is.
was wrong. But anyway, if you don't know, it's literally the part of Florida that is below Alabama. And yes, right on the beach. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
And that's another thing. The beach can be a thing, right? Because it could get really windy there. And if you've been on the beach where you have sand blowing, because sand was right there too, but it was a perfect day.
Well, I think I
80s.
saw from the video that they weren't actually on the sand for the ceremony.
No, but it was
which-
right there.
So I think what I saw from the video was they weren't actually on the sand.
No.
The ceremony, which happens though, people do get married right on the sand. What I thought was really ideal was it was actually a paved area, but the beach was adjacent.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it was AstroTurf, but really pretty trees. It was really
Mm-hmm.
nice. The challenge, and not a challenge, but it's just a thing. That was the ceremony space. But the people on the beach were right behind us.
Yes.
There was a
public.
hotel, another property right there that had a bunch of balconies that overlooked the ceremony. Then the hotel that we were at, the resort, had its own pool party going, and they had a DJ there. And I walked up and I'm like, "Hey, I'm Dominic. I'm DJing the wedding." He's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." So we talked. Ivan was his name. And I go, "When are you done?" He goes, "I'm done at 4." And I go, "Perfect," because that's when the ceremony is. And we can't have, booty shaking
Competing.
music playing as she's going down the aisle. Like that doesn't work. So the hotel was aware of that. They had it all timed out. I'm like, perfect. But that is a good question to ask if you are in a public area
Mhm.
where there's other things going on.
Absolutely. And it's if it's an event venue, they usually have protocol for this. So we
Yeah.
don't want to scare anyone. Usually they have a plan, they time it appropriately, like he said. But it's just something to think through. And the other thing is there's a little bit of you're going to be seen. Like you're going to have to get over like other people seeing you at your event. If you want a private event, find a private venue.
The thing that terrifies me, and it's never happened, but is there was a venue in Texas there was a public, it wasn't even a beach, but it was like the river. People would go in there, they would swim
Yeah.
in the river, but it was right there. And everyone on the other side, the bride came out one time and there was a wheel. And I'm like, easy, settle, don't you dare.
I
Because what
know.
I'm worried about is people out there being idiots, drinking,
Drunk.
don't do it, get out of there, run while you can. Some nonsense like that, right? Which is
Mhm.
just, I know it sounds funny for you and the boys, but that's their wedding day.
Yeah.
Again, don't screw it up. And I was kind of looking, they were getting a little bit, they were all watching. And I was like, easy, steady, don't do it. And we finished the ceremony. And at the end, the crowd erupted. They're like, woo. And I'm like, okay, perfect. Well
Yay.
played, everybody. And it was like, they all looked around. She blew a kiss. They all waved to the
Oh,
couple.
they behaved.
Oh, they behaved. And then they reacted. It was like perfect. Cause I was like, oh God, I was so worried. Like, oh no, this is going to go terrible, but it didn't. It was
It
great.
didn't. What else about Destin?
Destin, gosh, their family was really sweet. And it's a weird thing, like with our what notoriety, I guess, from being social media. Everybody like knows you. And even if they don't know you from following me, like, oh, we heard a lot about you. She's very excited to have you here. It's this weird pressure that comes with it. Like,
Yeah.
like what if it's just a dud? And I'm like, oh yeah, wow, he bring the TikTok guy down here, and it's a terrible event. I'm like, I can only work with what I'm given. I have a few tricks up
Yeah.
my sleeve. But what was weird is grandma is like, sometimes there's a grandma like, oh my God, I watch all your videos. You know, moms are pretty common to have watched the bridesmaids, but there were like little girls, like the
The
one little girl
nieces
was
and stuff?
probably, yeah, she was like probably 8. And she was like, I love your TikToks. And I go,
Oh my
and I didn't
gosh,
realize she was with the
so
venue.
cute.
And I go, wait. But she was over there because the bride and groom were on the beach getting pictures, of course. And they were running back and forth. And her and a couple of little friends were like, we love your TikToks. And I'm like, what? How do you know? Like, you're not in marrying age, because that's our demographic, is the marrying age and the
Absolutely.
moms.
Yeah.
But it was but everybody there had been following us. So it's great for my ego, but there's pressure. It's pressure.
Yeah, but you always deliver. So 5 great events
So
in
far.
May. Yeah, so far,
Yeah, so
right?
far, but
That's what we're hoping for.
keep the pedal down.
And we just had so much fun. I mean, we have a lot of great events coming up. So we're going to keep you guys posted on all of that. Something I wanted to also mention is that we are going to be doing a contest here coming up soon. That's just a little teaser. So keep an eye out on our socials for that information. But yeah, we're just so excited to be back for the podcast. We're going to have lots of guests coming up, lots of great episodes that we have planned out to share more information with you. If you have an idea that you want to hear about us jabber on, be sure to put it in the comments if you're watching on YouTube, or you can send us an email. We are hello@theweddingduo.co. Check out our website, theweddingduo.co, and our membership.
I'm excited to be back. It's always fun to do these. If you guys have a topic you want to hear, send us a message and let us know what we would love to cover. But because we're trying to keep it fresh. And this was really a good chance for us just to kind of go over some of the things we've done recently, like you just said. And because I'm sure some of you are going to have similar scenarios or things you have thought of or haven't thought of or you're worried about. But yeah, we can talk through any and every part of a wedding, because gosh, we've been doing this a while.
Truth. So more to come, but let's see if we can remember how we end these episodes.
I believe we blow a kiss. We say, see you next time, yeah?
No, we say that we have a thing.
Oh, we got a thing. Gosh,
Did you
it has
forget?
been a while. No, it is a very personal day, your wedding day. So don't let anybody talk you into something you don't want to do or talk you out of something you have your heart set on. It is your day.
You remembered.
Yes. Now the kiss.
Happy wedding planning.
Mwah. Hey, so thanks for listening to our podcast. If you found any of this information helpful and you know somebody who may be engaged or is a maid of honor, maybe you could tell them and share it with a friend.
Absolutely. So screenshot this episode, share it on Instagram, on Facebook, and tag the wedding duo. We promise to share the love back. Also, if you are interested in more resources or the show notes, you can go to theweddingduo.co. We have one-on-one virtual sessions, a shop, all sorts of fun stuff. Check it out.